My name is William Henry Harrison, and I was born on February 9, 1773 in Berkeley Plantation, Virginia. My father was Benjamin Harrison IV, and when I was born I had 6 older siblings, making me the youngest of 7. When I was 2, the American Revolution started. I was only 8 when it ended. I didn't go to school, instead I was tutored at home until I was 14. I went to both Hampton, Sydney, and the University of Pennsylvania for when I went to college. My father died, and when my father died, all of his wealth went to my oldest sibling. After my father's death, I dropped out of college and started to train for the Army. I met Anna at Yosemite and fell in love with her. Anna and I wanted to get married, but Anna's father didn't approve of me, so we married in secret. Anna and I later went on to have 10 kids. Did you know that I made a house in Vincennes, Indiana in the years 1801 to 1812. I also helped in the War of 1812 and was the governor of Indiana Territory in 1802. I resigned from the Army 2 times and died 1 month after I became president, making my presidency the shortest in history. My final words were, "Sir, I wish you to understand the true principles of government. I wish them carried out. I ask nothing more." I said them to my vice president, or what I thought was my vice president, but in reality it was my doctor. Speaking of which, I died of pneumonia on April 4th, 1841. I was the first president to die in office of a natural cause. Although my presidency was short and spared many people across the USA. I am William Henry Harrison, and I will always be William Henry Harrison, the first president to die in office of a natural cause, a governor of Indiana Territory, and the 9th president of the United States of America.
Hi, my name is Mark Spitz, and I was a famous swimmer. I was known for my mustache and my butterfly stroke. I was born on February 10, 1950 in Modesto, California. My mom's name is Lenore, and my dad's name is Arnold. My sister's name is also Lenore. In my childhood, I moved to Hawaii at age 10. When I was 17, I was in a national swimming group. At age 18, I went to the Olympics. Did you know I lived in Indiana for 3 years? When I was in Indiana, I joined the Olympics. I was famous for my mustache. When I was in the Olympics, I won about 35 medals. At age 22, I retired from the Olympics. When I was 23, I married Susie Weiner. I won 9 gold medals, which is a record. My best stroke was my butterfly stroke. I set at least 35 world records. One of my famous quotes were from a milk ad. I always drink it. It is a thing I like to do.
Have you ever wanted to be a person who could just run for days? Look no further, because I am Addie Riley, and I am one of those people. I currently hold the American record for the 1,000 meter and high school record for the 1,600 meter. I was born on October 24th, 2003 in Hutchinson, Indiana, to my mom and dad. And I'm an only child. I attended Huntington North High School and went to Huntington University after deciding not to attend Colorado University. When I was 10 years old, I suffered with cancer, and I now do a great deal of fundraising to help other kids like me. In high school, I played many different sports like basketball, soccer, track and field, and cross country. I didn't start running as a career until my senior year. During high school, I played on the varsity soccer team all 4 years and led my team goals. I played soccer and ran cross country as a sophomore. I also played varsity basketball as a freshman and sophomore. While in high school, I had a dog sitting and dog walking business. Did you know I am an 8-time national champ in both cross country and track?
few of my records are high school national record for the 1600 meter and the college record for the 1500 meter. This made me become the first Indiana runner to win both the 800 meter and 1600 meter. More facts. In 2024, I was working hard to make it to the Olympics, and at the last meet before the Olympics, the Olympic trials, I got a bad case of food poisoning. Then I hurt my hamstring. Therefore, I missed a lot of training just weeks before the trials. The last thing I want you to know is when you are facing hard things, if you work hard, great things can happen. I overcame cancer, and I'm still running towards my goal of being an Olympic athlete. Never give up and always work hard.
Hi, my name is Abraham Lincoln. I was born on February 12, 1809. I was born in Hardin County, Kentucky. My mother is Nancy Lincoln and my father is Thomas Lincoln. My sister is Sarah Lincoln. I am 10 years older than her. I lived in Indiana from 1816 to 1830. I spent less than a year in a classroom and had no college education. As a child, I loved to read. I would walk miles to get a book. I had many jobs, including a lawyer, flatboat worker, member of the Illinois House of Representatives, and I was the 16th President of the United States. I married Mary Todd Lincoln on November 4th, 1842. We had 4 kids named Robert, Edward, Willie, and Tad. One of my most famous speeches is the Gettysburg Address. Gettysburg is a place in Virginia that used to be a battlefield. I was a very successful president. I helped to end slavery. The main thing that started my popularity is that I was a lawyer. I was assassinated on April 14th, 1865 in Ford's Theater. John Wilkes Booth was the person that killed me. One of my most famous sayings is stand with anyone that stands right. Stand with him while he is right and part with him when he goes wrong.
Have you ever wanted to be a president? Well, I was, and I was even the first president to live in Indiana. I was born August 20th, 1833. My father was Benjamin Franklin Harrison, and I have no siblings. I did not go to school, and I was taught by tutors. My father was president for a month, because a month after he was elected, he died from pneumonia. As my first job, I had to become a cashier. But in 1850, I went to Miami University and learned law. After that, I tried to start my own law school, but it didn't work out. When the Civil War started, I enlisted for the Union Army. In the Civil War, I became a general. And after the Civil War ended, I became a U.S. Senator. When I tried to become president, I lost the 2 first elections. But on the 3rd election, I became the 23rd president of the U.S. While I was president, I brought 6 new states to America and moved to Indianapolis. I left office in 1893. I was actually the first president to have electricity in the White House. I was also the first president to have his voice recorded on a tape recorder. I also helped pass antitrust laws, supported the Republican Party, and when I was young, I spent a lot of time outdoors. On March 13th, 1901, I died from pneumonia, and that was 8 years after I left office, and I was 68 when I died.
Hello, my
name is James Robert Davis, also known as Jim Davis. I was born on July 28, 1945 in Marion, Indiana. My mother is Anna Catherine and my father is James William Davis. I also live with my brother Dave and a bunch of cats. I lived on a Black Angus family farm. I attended Fairmont High School. I played varsity football and did comic strips in the school paper. I attended college at Ball State University. I graduated in 1967 with a major in art and business. After I graduated, I worked as a commercial artist at a local advertising agency for 2 years. After that, I was an assistant cartoonist for Tom K. Ryan, who created Tumbleweeds from 1969 to 1978. My first comic strip was named No Nat, which was successful, but the bugs were as good as other animals for comics. My second comic strip was called John Arbuckle, with a cat as a sidekick. When I showed it to Tom K. Ryan, he said the cat has the main punchline. Then I named it Garfield after my grandfather, James Garfield Davis. It debuted on June 19, 1978. In 1980, it was a New York Times bestseller. An interesting fact about me is I won 2 Emmys, one in 1984 to 85 and another in 1988 to 89. A quote by me is in my head: the grass is green, the sky is blue, and cats are orange. I am 79 years old today.
Have you ever wanted to know how it feels to be an inaugural Basketball Hall of Fame coach? Well, look no further than this. On October 25th, 1940, in Massillon, Ohio, I, Bobby Knight, was born. I was the son of Carol Knight and Hazel Knight. I was the grandson of Robert Knight and Hazel Knight. I married Amanda Knight and only had one son, Pat Knight. In my childhood, I had a lot of fun. I went to Orville Corporate Schools, where I went on to play basketball at Ohio State and graduate with my bachelor's degree. In my adulthood, I was an assistant coach at Army, and I became a head coach there. I got hired by Indiana for the head coach position and spent the next 3 decades there. I lived in Indiana from 1971 through 2023, when I died. I led Indiana to 3 national championships and first coach in Indiana basketball history to be inducted to the Hall of Fame. I have some interesting facts, like I coached the 1984 U.S. Olympic team. I was inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame in 2008. My record at Indiana was 662 and 239. I retired in 2008, and I was a head coach at Texas Tech from 2006 to 2008. I also had a chair throwing incident against Purdue on February 25th, 1985, because I got mad because I got a technical foul for arguing and an ambulance came because I had a medical watch on, and when I threw the chair, they thought I had a heart attack. I have some good history, like my nickname was the General. My death was on November 1st, 2023, and my cause of death was not announced to the public. I hope you learned a lot about me and how good I was at coaching.
Hi, my name is Amelia Harrah. I was born in Kansas, July 7th, 1879. My mom's name is Amy and my dad's name is Edward. I have one sister named Marie. As a child, I often moved around the Midwest. I spent most of my time with my sister. I went to school at the Oregon School near Philadelphia. I finished school, but on my way I felt a wounded soldier. I felt really bad and I wanted to do something, so I started medical school. I became a nurse. My next goal was to become a doctor, but my parents asked me to go to California with them, and I agreed. My dad took me to the state fair, then bought tickets for an airplane. I wasn't really fascinated by airplanes just then. By the time I was 200 or 300 feet off the ground, I just knew I had to fly. After that, I started flying school in Arfield, Los Angeles, California. I got my pilot's license December 15, 1921. I took many part-time jobs to get money to buy my own home. That year I flew at the air show and married George Palmer, February 7th, 1931. The The age I was married at was 32. Farmer had 2 children, sons, from his previous marriage. I went to Purdue University in 1935. I am famous because I set many flying records. On July 2nd, 1937, my navigator, Fred Newton, and I went missing while attempting to fly around the world. After an exhausting and expensive search, we were presumed dead.
Everybody in Indianapolis knows who I am. I played for the Colts. Do you know who I am? If you said Peyton Manning, then you are correct. I was born on March 24th, 1976. I was born in New Orleans, Louisiana, U.S. My mom's name is Olivia Manning and my dad's name is Archie Manning. I also have 2 brothers and their names are Cooper Manning and Eli Manning. I also have a wife and children. My wife's name is Ashley Manning. My son's name is Arch Manning, and my daughter's name is Mosley Manning. Now I am 49 years old. I am the second born out of 3, and all of my siblings play football. As a child, I grew up in a deeply immersed family in football. I also led my childhood football team, the Greenies, who had a 34-5 record. When I was a kid, I went to Isidore Newman School, and I went to college at University of Tennessee. As an adult, I was an NFL quarterback, but after my career, I opened many children's hospitals, restaurants, Omaha products. I've even made a TV show with my brother Eli called Cast. Did you know that I lived in Indianapolis for 14 years, 1998 through 2010? I also played for the Colts for 13 years. I opened many different companies. I also played for the Broncos for 4 years. I was the number 1 pick for the Colts my first NFL year in 1998, and I even played baseball and basketball as a kid. I was also inducted into the Hall of Fame and won 2 Super Bowls. Lastly, my famous quote is pressure is something you feel when you don't know what you're doing.
Creativity is an act of defiance. You're challenging the status quo. You're asking 3 universal questions. Why do I have to obey the rules? Why can't I be different? Why can't I do it my way? I'm Charlotte Third, and today I'll tell you how I broke the rules of creativity. I was born on July 1st, 1941 in Portland, Indiana. My parents are William and Lucille III. I am the oldest of 4 children, a sister Twinette and twin brothers Stanley and Stanford. When I was 8 years old, I moved to California. I also spent a couple of months each year at my grandparents' house tending to their Quaker farms. Being outdoors and working kept me very busy, but one day my mom insisted I take dance lessons. I agreed, and that decision changed my life for good. I attended Pomona and Bernard colleges, and while I studied in school, my family opened a theater. I always continued to dance. As an adult, I took interest in many things. I became a writer and wrote many different styles of books. I read the autobiography Push Comes to Shove, and also a book called Keep It Moving. I also wrote a self-help book named The Creative Habit, and later wrote its sequel, The Collaborative Habit. What I am most famous for, though, is using my dance skills to become a famous choreographer. In 1965, I created the Third Dance Company, which is known for breaking the rules of dance and creativity by combining styles of ballet, jazz, and modern dance. I also choreographed musicals. In 2002, I choreographed Movin' Out, music by Billy Joel. Later, in 2006, I choreographed The Times Are a Changin', a musical about Bob Dylan. Then, in 2010, I choreographed Come Fly With Me, music by Frank Sinatra. I won many awards for my work, and of these awards, my most prized ones are 2 Emmys, one for Dance in America and another for individual achievement. I also was a Kennedy Center honoree and a Tony winner for my work in moving. Even though I only lived in Indiana for 8 years, to this day I motivate students through my art. I even inspire an Indiana University college course based off of my dancing and choreography. I will be remembered forever for my unique style of dance. As I said before, I like to break the rules of creativity, and you can too. Never be afraid to try something new and be different.
Have you ever heard of Reggie Miller? If so, you probably know that I played for the Pacers and was their best point guard at the time. I was born on August 24th, 1965 in Riverside, California. My parents are Carrie and Saul Miller, and my siblings are Cheryl, Daryl, Tammy, and Saul Jr. I was born with a hip disease, and after multiple years of wearing hip braces, I was finally able to walk better. When I was a kid, I played 1v1 with Cheryl until I could finally block her shots. I went to high school at Riverside Polytechnic and college at UCLA. In my adult life, I got 2 Olympic gold medals and was a very good NBA player. I am married to Marita Sativa and we have 3 children. I am currently 59 years old. I was drafted first round, 11th pick to the Pacers in 1987, and I moved to Indiana. I impacted both Indiana and the USA because I'm the 6th best shooting guard in the history of the NBA. Some interesting facts about me are that I scored 8 points in 8.9 seconds. I was a 5-time All-Star. I am 6'7" and 195 pounds, and I led the Pacers to 6 championships. My famous quote is, "You have to be willing to fail because you're not going to make every shot." I am one of Stephen Curry's inspirations, and I'm still living.
Do you know me? I am big with popcorn. I have a very famous popcorn company, and I'm considered the best popcorn maker in the world. If you said Orville Redenbacher, you are correct. I was born July 16, 1907 in Brazil, Indiana. My parents were Joseph Redenbacher and Julia Deerdorf. My first wife was Corinne Redenbacher. After she passed away, I married Nina Redenbacher and we had 2 kids. I lived on my family's farm for 12 years. At age 12, I started growing popping corn. Later, I attended Purdue University. In 1990, I moved to Coronado, California at the age of 83. Did you know I first sold my popping corn out of the trunk of my car? One of my famous quotes is, "I'm not just a popcorn guy, I'm a popcorn expert." I sadly died while still living in California of a heart attack at age 88 in 1995. I hope you've enjoyed my popcorn I've brought you today. If you don't like it, my name is Orville Redenbacher.
Hi, my name is Little Turtle. I was born in 1752, Fort Wayne, Indiana, along Eel River. My father's name was Missionary. When I was a child, I still lived in Fort Wayne along the Eel River, but I did not go to school. During my adult life, I was Miami Indian War Chief and got married and had 3 sons and 6 daughters. I lived in Indiana my whole life. I impacted Indiana by fighting in wars and sieging land. Some interesting facts about me are that I am 6 feet tall, and I'm named after my dad because Little Turtle translated is missionary. Some people I defeated in battle of the bomb in 1780, Whitley County, Indiana. General Josiah Homer in 1790, Allen County, Indiana. Indiana Hardin in 1790, Allen County, Indiana. I also defeated Arthur St. Clair, and during battle he lost 900 men. That war is the most decisive war between the U.S. Army and Native Americans. Some other wars I was in was Battle of the Fallen Timbers and the War of 1812. In 1795, I signed the Treaty of Greenville, causing me to cede land, and after that my wife died. A quote about me is, perhaps the most capable Indian leader of the Northwest Territory, Wiley Short. I died on July 14, 1812, in Fort Wayne, Indiana, and I died of gout.
Do you know who played in Cheers and Troop Beverly Hills? If you said me, Shelley Long, then you're correct. I have played in almost 15 different movies, with my most popular one being Cheers. I was born August 23rd in 1949. My parents are Ivadine and Leland Long. I am an only child. My mom worked as a school teacher, and my dad worked in a rubber industry before becoming a teacher. I have one famous quote from Troop Beverly Hills. I may be a beginner at some things, but I have a black belt in shopping. This quote is from my sitcom movie, Troop Beverly Hills. I was born on August 23rd, 1949 in Fort Wayne, Indiana. I am the daughter of Ivadine and Leland Long, a school teacher, and Leland Long, who worked at a rubber industry before becoming a teacher. In high school, I attended a speech team and competed in the high school forensic association. In 1967, I won the National Forensic League's National Championship in original oratory.
Wayne, Indiana, I went to Kekionga Junior High. In high school, I attended a speech team. After high school, I went to Northwestern University to study drama, but I left before graduating to pursue a career in acting and modeling. In 1981, I married Bruce Tyson, but later got divorced. I entered acting by participating in various commercials for a furniture company in Chicago.
My name is Keegan Rothrock, and I'm known for being a fast-pitch softball player. I was ranked #1 in the league. I was born on January 5th, 2005 in Whiteland, Indiana. My parents are Greg and Laura Rothrock. I do not have any siblings and no other family members. I'm now 20 years old, still playing softball. For my childhood, I went to Roncalli High School in Indianapolis. I currently attend the University of Florida for college. In my adult life, I play softball for the Florida Gators. I do not have any children. I'm not married. Also, I graduated from Roncalli High School. I lived in Indiana for most of my life. I contributed to Indiana by being 2023 Indiana High School Sports Award Girls Athlete of the Year after completing an amazing career at high school. Also, I contributed to the U.S. by guiding the Florida Gators to the Women's College World Series semifinals. I represented the U.S. at the 2021 Junior Pan American Games and won a medal. I also represented the U.S. at the Junior Women's World Championship and pitched 19 strikeouts in 9 innings while allowing 1 hit and winning gold medal. When I was a freshman in 2024, I was named SEC Freshman of the Year. I pitched 194 strikeouts in 248 innings. I was awarded Player of the Year in 2022 through 2023. My famous quote is, "I work really hard when nobody is watching, but it's the small things in between that you work towards that make the big difference."
Ladies and gentlemen, start your engines. Hello, my name is Florence Henderson. I was born February 14th, 1934 in Dale, Indiana. My parents are Joseph and Elizabeth Henderson. I have 6 brothers and sisters. My sisters are Anna and Mary Henderson. My brothers are Joseph, Carl, Thomas, and John Henderson. Sadly, I never knew my older brother Thomas because he died when he was only a month and 7 days old. I grew up during the Great Depression, 1929 to 1939. My job on the tobacco farm was to pick worms off the leaves. Sometimes I went hungry and shoeless. I went to Owensboro Catholic High School, then I went to the American Academy of Dramatic Arts. I went on to play Carol Brady in the Brady Bunch. I married Ira Bernstein in 1956. I had 4 kids. My daughters are Barbara and Elizabeth. Barbara, 1956, and Elizabeth, 1968. Bernstein. My sons are Joseph and Ira Bernstein Jr., 1960. I divorced my husband in 1985. I remarried John Kappas in 1987. We stayed married until John's death in 2002. I sang the Star Spangled Banner or America the Beautiful at the 500. In 2016, I was the Grand Marshal. I could sing 50 songs by the age of 2. I was in Norway during the first 6 episodes of the Brady Bunch. I was on the Love Boat 11 times. I died November 24th, 2016 of heart failure. I died in Cedars-Sinai Medical Center. The Brady Bunch was just the fabric of my career.
Hi, I am John Chapman, or known as Johnny Appleseed. I was born in 1774 in Leominster, Massachusetts. I had 11 siblings. My mom and dad's names were Elizabeth Simmons and Nathaniel Chapman. My dad fought in the American Revolution. I had no school
Columbus, I spent most of my time in a neighbor's orchard where I learned the apple business. I wasn't married and had no kids. I tried to leave American frontier and went around Indiana planting apple seeds. My childhood was marked by my father's remarriage and the family moved to Long Meadow. I did not plant apples for eating. I planted apples for a type of brandy called Applejack. I did not wear a tin pot on my head. I wore a tin hat, wore tattered clothes, and did not walk barefoot. Most people think I planted apples for eating, but that's not true. Most people drew me as a guy with a tin pot on my head and torn clothes. I'm a Christian. I carried a Bible and a knapsack. The knapsack is a small bag. One quote I said was, "Pray as you can, not as you can't." I went around giving people apple seeds. I was 70 years old when I died. I died of pneumonia in Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Hi, I'm Alex Meyer. I'm from Greensburg, Indiana. I've played on 2 Major League Baseball teams throughout my career. I was born on January 3rd, 1990 to Greensburg, Indiana, to David and Sandy Meyer. My brothers and sisters are Kristen and Eric Meyer. My other family member is Brian Hohen. He is currently a pitcher for the San Diego Padres. I am married to Kyra Meyer and have 2 sons, Roman and Max, and 1 daughter, Ren. As a kid, I liked many things. Some of the things I liked were being outside, playing games, swimming, basketball, like spending time with family, video games. But most of all, I like baseball. I played travel baseball too. I went to Greensburg High School for school. When I graduated, I went to the University of Kentucky. I played for baseball. When I graduated, I played minor league baseball for 3 years before I made my MLB debut for the Minnesota Twins. After that year, I played on the Los Angeles Angels. I played on that team for 2 years. Some interesting facts about me are I pitched 7 innings straight. There are 9 innings in a game unless there's overtime. My nickname is Bubba. I spent time in the off-season as a substitute teacher from 2011 to 2014. I now coach the varsity baseball team for Greensburg High School. I even share an uncle with Carter Matthews. One quote that I said is, "Be passionate about what it is you are doing. If you don't truly care about it, you'll never maximize your energy towards it. This means never quit what you are doing because you'll never get better at it." That was some of the things I did and made some of the things that made me famous. I hope you know more about me than you did at the beginning.
Hi, my name is Larry Bird. I was born on December 7, 1956. I was born in West Maiden, Indiana. My mother and father's names were Joseph Bird and Georgia Bird. I also had 4 brothers and a sister. My mother worked 2 jobs to support me and my 5 siblings. My dad, Joe, committed suicide in February 1975. For schooling, I went to Springs Valley High School. In college, I went to IU, then dropped out and went to a community college. After that, I enrolled at Indiana State. In my adulthood, I played professional basketball for the Boston Celtics. I was a part of 3 NBA championship teams and won league MVP 3 times following my playing career. I was inducted into the NBA Hall of Fame. I was named to 12 All-Star teams. I married my first wife, Janet Condra, and my daughter's name is Corey. My second wife's name is Dina Mattingly. I also was head coach and later an executive for the Indiana Pacers and was named Coach of the Year in 1998. I am retired and living in Naples, Florida.
My name is Javier Cook, and I was born on June 30, 1892, and I moved to Dickinson, Indiana, and I moved to Anderson, Indiana in 1894. also graduated from Deacon University in 1917 to drive an ambulance. That same year, I was enlisted in the Army Signal Corps. In 1919, I was promoted from ace to captain. After World War I, I helped form the U.S. Army Mail Force. I achieved the rank of Colonel and the 48th Division of the AO Guard. I then died from a plane crash.
I'm a singer. I'm 58 and I'm an actor. Who am I? I'm Janet Jackson. I was born May 16, 1966 in Gary, Indiana. My parents are Joe and Catherine Jackson. I'm the youngest of 10 children. They are Rebby, 1950, Jackie, 1952, Tito, 1953 to 2024, Jermaine, 1954, Latoy, 1956, Marlon, 1957, Brandon, 1957 to 1957, Michael, 1958 to 2009, Randy, 1961, and me, Janet Jackson, 1966. My other family members are Stevie Wonder, Tracy Chapman, and Samuel L. Jackson. My childhood was influenced by both the film of my brothers, the Jackson 5, and the influence of my father, Joe Jackson. For schooling, I went to Lene Road Elementary School, Portola Middle School, and Bridgeton Hall School. I did not graduate. In adult life, I was a singer, songwriter, actress, and dancer. I married James DeBarge, Bryn Elizondo, and Wissam Alman. I have one child. He is 8 years old, and his name is Isa Alman. Did you know? I lived in Indiana from 1966 to 1969. I made an impact on Indiana because I became a 5-time Grammy winner. More interesting facts. I'm the youngest of 10 children. I have 5 back-to-back #1 studio albums. I was paid $3 million for Nutty Professor to the clubs. I always wanted to study law. I was to appear as Little Horn in biopic due to be released in 2004 in memoriam. One of my quotes is, "In complete darkness we are all the same. It is our knowledge and wisdom that separates us. Don't let your eyes deceive you."
Hello, my name is Crystal Gale. I was born on January 9th, 1951 in Paintsville, Kentucky. My father died when I was 4 and my sister was out of the house when I was born. I grew up with 7 other children and I was the youngest one of them all. We moved to Wabash, Indiana when I was 4. My sister Loretta was the one who inspired me. She is a famous country singer. In 1977, I made the song Don't It Make My Brown Eyes, which was soon to be the song everyone knew me for. My real name is Brenda Gale Webb, and some interesting facts about me are that I pulled my name from the Crystal Hamburger chain. My birth sign is Capricorn and my birthstone is Garnet. I was a backup singer in my sister Loretta's band. This is one of my famous quotes. You're either in it for the long haul or you're not. I have my own theater and exhibit showcasing my career in the Wabash County Historical Museum. Here is a fun fact about me. I was the only child in my household that was born in a hospital. My mother is Clara Marie Webb, and my father is Melvin Webb Sr. I have over 20 awards and wins and continue to spread my music and tour. I am 74 years old at the time.
Hi, I am someone who sculpts and paints. Who am I? I'm Harbor, Indiana. I was born September 9th, 1928. No one knows who my parents are, but my adoptive parents are Earl and Carmen Clark. I have no brothers or sisters. However, I do have a maternal uncle, Oliver, and a paternal aunt and uncle who I lived with for a period of time. I was adopted as an infant, which means 0 to 1 years of age. I was raised in influencing lots of artists and designers. The iconic love image was in the form of a Christmas card in 1964 and sent to artist friends. I designed a basketball court and a stage setup. Some of my pieces are in the Museum of Modern Art. In my 30s, I changed my last name to Clark, from Clark to Indiana, because I felt the last name Clark was too common. I chose Indiana because Renaissance artists would use the name of their hometown, and I admired that. One of my famous quotes is, "My goal is that love should cover the world." I died on May 18th, 2018 in Vanel Haven, Maine. The cause of my death is unknown. Those are some of the things I've done and been through. Always remember that you are awesome and everyone's life is hard.
Hi, I'm Aaron Sewell, and I was born on May 27, 1844 in Reedsville, Wisconsin. My parents are Philander Montague Wright and Mary Weeks Brackett Wright. I was the second daughter of 4 children as the youngest child. My dad, Philander, taught me at home, but I also attended public school in Wauwatosa and Bloomington, Wisconsin. I went to a college in Evanston, Illinois, and as an adult, I founded the Girls Classical School of Indianapolis. Began my teaching career and hosted weekly gatherings of Indianapolis's intellectual community at my house to discuss the major topics of the day. I was married to Edwin W. Thompson from 1872 to 1875 and Theodore Lovett Sewall from 1880 to 1895. Did you know that I lived in Indianapolis, Indiana in 1895? And I also helped to establish many civic organizations, most notably the Indianapolis Women's Club, the Indianapolis Properlium, the Art Association of Indianapolis, later known as the Indianapolis Museum of Art. I also helped to establish the Contemporary Club of Indianapolis and the John Herron Art Institute, which later became the Herron School of Art and Design at Indiana University, Purdue University of Indianapolis, IUPUI. More interesting facts are that I made efforts in the women's rights movement, and I was a prominent ally of suffrage leaders Susan B. Anthony and Elizabeth Cady Stanton. I also served as the Natural Women's Suffrage Association's executive committee. I helped organize the General Federation of Women's Clubs and served as its first vice president. One of my quotes was, "Universal suffrage is the only guarantee against despotism." And I died on July 23rd, 1920 in Indianapolis, Indiana of chronic.
Hi, have you ever heard of KFC? Well, if you have, then you may know that I made it. Hi, I'm Colonel Sanders, and on September 9th, 1890, Henryville, I and my mother gave birth to me. When I was 6, my father died, leaving my mother to work at a tomato cannery, and I was left to take care of my siblings, including loving them, cooking for them, and making sure we have enough money for food. My siblings' names were Clarence Sanders and Catherine Sanders. In the 1900s, I got fired from my first job at 10 years old. And in 1903, I didn't have time for 7th grade, so I dropped out. And in 1906, I got my mother's approval to go live with my uncle, but I had to join the state army, which led me to lie about my age to get out of the state army. In 1930, I started KFC at 40, but I made it by myself. And in 1945, I had been rejected 1,009 times, but then 7 years later, I got approved to sell KFC to the public. And then in 1964, I sold KFC. I had 3 children. Their names were Harold Sanders Jr., Margaret Sanders, and Mildred Sanders Ruggles. And my wife's name was Claudia Price. And my other wife died. Her name was Joseph King. Did you know I lived in India all my life, but I lived with my uncle, which made me join the state army. Some interesting facts about me is that I was rejected 1,009 times, and I was forced to join the state army, but I lied about my age to get out at age 17. But the first KFC was made in Utah, not in Kentucky, and my father died when I was 6. I had to take care of my siblings. Unfortunately, I died at age 90 in 1890 on December 16th, Louisville, Kentucky, IN. I died to acute leukemia, and in 2000 through 2025, KFC blew up. Who knew that? Do you want to hear some famous quotes I once said? I once said, "Want us to remember that every failure can be a stepping stone to something better."